Boink, boink, boink. You are live. That's what it says. It says it on the screen. All right. For some reason, I'm listening to Paul McCartney again. I don't know. Just it was on, really. Okay. Hi, everybody. How is everyone doing today? I just posted today's page a little while ago. Not too long ago. But I had a lot of fun doing this one. I say that about every page. I realize that. I realize it. But I do. I have a lot of fun doing all these pages. And had a cool conversation with my cool niece. And she gave me a really cool suggestion. I've got to put in a cool book. A lot of coolness there. My niece Kate and I had a great chance to chat while she's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. She has to go through a process, and so if we can hang out and chat for a few minutes while she's doing that, super cool beans. She puts up with my weirdness for a few minutes. But she suggested cats doing karate while on suicide sauce. That's a great suggestion. There we go. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Good suggestion. Okay. Hi, Jim. Hi, everybody else. People that haven't said hi, we call you lurkers. Okay. Today's page, it feels a little, if you're in, man. But it's the whole point of this world is that what I'm trying to, at the same time, for the people that understand the referentiality around a page like this, there's extra layers. But for the people that don't, it's kind of like I'm trying to understand what's going on. And my giveaway on what's going on is twofold. The world of Kremlin, in the second panel, there's the giant panel, and in this first little side panel right here, which the world of Kremlin, and then text leads us across. Then we start again here, and then we go back and go over here. But the first thing that you see here is the risk map, and the continents are colored specifically to look like a risk board. And then the last thing that's said in the whole scenario, the whole page, hey, Philip, welcome aboard. Sorry, I missed that. Hi, buddy. Lurk, 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 lurk. Philip lurking is a flirker. That's pretty good, Philip. That's pretty good, Jim. Philip, you had to go with that. The flirker. You're getting an appearance by the flirker. Yeah. So what I was saying was, so the two things that give away what's going on the page is with the first small panel is clearly a risk board. The continents are colored like a risk board purposely. And then the last panel on the same page is the most risky game ever played. So I double down on the risk reference. And but anybody that knows the story behind Joshua Krimble, and I'm glad you like that, Philip. Sometimes when we have fun like that, you don't know if the other person goes, "Flirker, I hate that so much." Yeah. So that's for the people that don't know what this is all talking about. But at the same time, it allows you to look at the insight that a dude that's playing Risk, this is the little world inside the Risk game. So if they can make that logic leap, then a page like this works. And if they can't, well, I got to draw a cool space city, right? And when you pull the text out, there's far more space city to see, right? And I did the little holographic bridge to the island here too. There's the island. There's the floating island. And then there's the bridge, the holographic bridge that takes you to here. So fun things for me. And then this, the sky sled, as she calls it. This is based on the Denny serving machine. Honestly, the whole space age part of drawing this page is because I saw a Denny's serving machine on the weekend, and I desperately had to fit it into a comic because I'm that much of a nerd. But this is a thing on Patreon. You get to see the original stuff, so you get to see pages without all the text on them. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh, right? So that's the fun stuff. Hello, everyone. Even you, Jim Luhan. Hey, Gary. So this was, so this is a fun page to do. I don't know if Joshua, the Kremlinator, has seen it yet, but I even expressed in the description, the text below any social media posts, I even talk about how Josh got called Kreml at this event that he went to, and that's where this all started. So, and his love of risky business, loving that game that much. Anyhow, been a good week. Yesterday's page was very, very different, but this page is getting a lot of attention. I think it's largely just because of pop referentiality. All the people that like these different artists are all, oh, I like that page. Like everything that's got Tom Waits on it. Gary says, this one has a Winsor McKay vibe. Ooh. Thank you. That is a fine, fine compliment. I like that a lot. The Kremlin one. Yeah, no, I got that. I didn't think it was the other one. Well, that's cool. I like that. I'm a huge fan of Winsor McKay. Part of my whole motivation to do a page a day thing is because the precedent's already set. People have already done this historically. It's not like I'm breaking new territory by any means. I'm not that, much of a lunatic, but it's just interesting to me to just pursue one different page, one different theme per page as each day goes along. So Winsor McCramlin. This guy's on fire today. This guy, this Jim fella, he's on fire or something. All right, so that's the page of the day, and our leader watches over us. All hail the great Kremlinator. But let's get cracking. So on to it almost impressed that monkey. You got an almost impressed monkey on the screen there. All right. Sketchbook Premium. Okay, so yeah, my niece Kate gave me cats doing karate while on suicide sauce. So this is my test drawing that I did with this pen, who I call Mr. Beans. Yeah, Mr. Beans. That sounds good. So this is my testing of drawing with my left hand. Can it be done? Shall I embarrass myself publicly? I shall. Today's suggestion, I think we're going to do, I promise to do, unless anybody else says, Chris, don't do that. Do this instead. Two Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. Draw it left-handed. He said it like that. I know. He angry typed it that way. Draw it left-handed. You draw that left-handed. Or I'll do an impression. You draw that left-handed. I got to work on that. I got to work on impressions. Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. Dinosaurs versus Denny server bots is incredibly tempting to me right now. You have no idea. I'm putting it in a book. It's so tempting. Draw it left-handed. Okay, so who's responsible for that? I'll tell you who's responsible for that. Okay. So that's there. Now, I'm writing some of these down. Dinosaurs versus Denny's bots. They're kitties too. Anyways. And that's Jim Luan. And then What do you got, Malcolm? Offering to the hamburger gods. Gods. I read when somebody puts a parenthetical S after a word, I always read the word offering to the hamburger gods. God. For some reason, I have to read it like it's a numerat or something. Parentheticals. And the parenthetical S, the umlauts of consonants. That's my name. That's for I went into this event that, and they stuck this on me as soon as I walked in the door. Stuck it on me. Put this on. All right, so I got those two written down. And I have already checked off yesterday's The Kremlin Overtaking the World, suggested by the Kremlinator. And we still got some more on here to do. Corey is The Ball on a Rube Goldberg Machine. Jim and Carrie's Top Fives. Malcolm says I'm non-denominational. All right. So, what do we got? Is this just schmutz on this paper? Okay, it is. That's all it was. It's just schmutz. It's okay. All right. So, here we are. Dinosaurs versus Denny's server bots, I have put in the book. Offering to the hamburger gods, I have put in the book. And again, Gary, thank you. That actually means a lot to me. I'm a big Winsor McCay fan. I don't know if I've got full-size books. I've got a couple of books here in my place. I have one of which is the actual full-size pages of that McCay worked at, and I can't show you unless I hold it up like this and turn. Hold on, I'm not even getting down camera. I'd have to hold it up like this and turn the pages because they're full-size newspaper pages, right? So they'd be even this far away. They're that size of the frame because he drew huge. Yeah, the size of his pages makes Josh Kemble look like he's drawn on napkins. If you haven't had a chance to check out the graphic artist Josh Kemble's work, please go do so. I'm giving him a hard time today. I carved his face into a mountain, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. So, but yeah, his page sizes were gigantic. They were full size, basically a full size newsprint size. But it was a heavier grade bond paper, I think, that he worked on. Amazing inking, amazing illustration, amazing inking work. The worst letterer in the history of mankind. In all comics, Winsor McCay chalks it up there to one of the worst letterers ever. His lettering, completely legible, but the balloons around the letters, he would squeeze as tight as he possibly could around the letters because he didn't want to interfere with the art, and he thought that's all people wanted anyways. Hey, we're all in it together. Anyways, I got a little exciting toy plant. What are we doing over here? Oh, it's Vincent. Anybody old enough to know what that is? Good luck to you. Okay, so two Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. This is today's suggestion from Jim Luan, which sounds harmless. It really does. However, he's also said to draw it left-handed. I'm predominantly right-handed now, so thanks for that, Jim. All right. So I gotta try to figure out a couple things different here. I'm gonna turn my camera a little bit because I have to. Normally I'll draw on this angle, and now I gotta draw on that angle. So there's our suggestion for today, and you draw like a manga and do it backwards. That'll learn you. Okay. So, yeah. So the natural tendency for me anyways, I find, is to pull. My hand pulls against, because your brain is wired to do everything with this dude over here. And so you have a natural tendency to basically mix those signals as you're working the opposite hand. So Philip says, I remember the black hole. I still have the graphic novel from the 70s on my bookshelf. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's so good. And I got the movie book about it. I've got 2 different versions of Vincent and Maximilian in this format, and then I have a fancier format. I've got Vincent and Bob and Maximilian in those. I really enjoyed the black hole. I really did. And it's a really bad Disney trying to do Star Wars situation. And despite that, I really dialed in to the black hole for some reason as a kid. I don't know if it was Roddy McDowall doing yet another voiced character for Disney, or if it whatever it was, or it was the fact that the old robot Bob had a voice like this, like a robot would suddenly have an older voice, like an old man voice. But I really enjoyed it. It was so good. And but they clearly didn't get some of the Star Wars tropes, some of the Star Wars ideas. Their Maximilian is their Darth Vader. Star as the head stormtrooper type, and all the red, star soldiers. Just silliness, but at the same time, I can't even clean this up. Got to play by the rules. If I can get her face down. By the end of this page, boy, goodness. If I can get to the end of this page. If I can do it. I have to believe. So this is the part I'm talking about where your brain is trying to tell you not to do things in a certain way. John Barry's score is phenomenal, says Philip. Yes, indeed it is. Yes, indeed. There's so many great moments in the Black Hole film. Just, when you think about the actors, right? The lead male actor and the lead female actor, I think it's Kate Capshaw, it's the lady. They're not young. They're, 30s, 40s, these astronauts. And as opposed to the 20-year-old cast of the 20-something cast of Star Wars. But, Disney does them as being older. And I think that you don't even care about that when you're a kid. You just look at it as these guys are cool, and you can associate with the young actor that's on board Pizer. If you're a young person, I guess, but most people just associate with the robots. But it's also got Anthony Perkins, who was in Psycho. It's got Max Schnell, I think his name was. And my pal and yours, Ernest Borgnine. I have actually one signed 8x10 photograph in my house, and it's Ernest Borgnine. I did a story about how Ernest Borgnine is so cool in one of my books, and someone that I knew was going to a convention, and Borgnine was there, and they showed him the page. They showed him a copy of the book that had the page in it, and Borgnine thought it was so cool. He kept the book and sent me a signed 8x10. Thanks for keeping me in the popular zeitgeist. Which is so cool. And, I really respect that. But I really liked him as an actor as a kid. He was in all kinds of stuff. And it's funny when you think about the actors of your youth, you know, a lot of them are middle-aged people, and as a kid, you're still like, oh, that person's awesome. You know, you don't think about the fact that they're probably 40, 50 years old as you're watching them. You just look at them and go, that's a cool character. Like The Exorcist, when Exorcist 3 came out, and I remember watching that, I was probably, oh, hell, I don't know how old I was, but I don't know that I was that old. And I just thought that George C. Scott was a good actor. I don't know what your problem is here. Like everything he does is extreme, and like just so, yeah, maybe that is a killer, but we'll never know, will we? Just for some reason, I was really taken by him. Jim says, as a kid, you were a Peter Sellers fan. How everybody's yeah, of course. You know, my favorite Peter Sellers film is. Take a random guess of what my favorite Peter Sellers film can be. Anybody here? It's ridiculous. Cat and Paste has a signed photo of Ben Johnson. Nice. Now, when you say Ben Johnson, you talk about the actor or the athlete? Because there wasn't there one of each for that. Yeah, there's a certain Peter Sellers film that I love, and it's so inappropriate. Yeah, Jim got it in one. The Party. You can't. You're hard pressed to have people go, oh yes, that's very socially conscious, because he plays. Yeah, you know, the steroids guy. Yeah, the athlete. There was an actor, Ben Johnson, too, but that's 50s, I think. Was this heyday? Yeah, the Party is such a great film, but Peter Sellers plays an Indian guy in it, and yeah. Even though he's great, and Doctor Strangelove is all those different characters, I still like the Party. I had a friend that was really into the Pink Panther franchise, but all right, so I chose to go with the pencil crayon here for the same reason as I was drawing in marker the other day, and that is I'm not inking or anything this stuff again, so pencil crayon leaves a solid enough mark, and I can't erase it. So let's not make any mistakes, huh? Eh? All right, so I'm drawing some clearly working class people here. She got the hair tied up. Birdie num num. Oh, you caught me. Birdie num num. Yeah, it's so good. And that's got Claudine Clobel. What is her name? I actually have her albums. I actually bought this lady's albums. I think it's Claudine Cordell. I'm trying to think of it. Without having to look it up. But she has these wonderful little, lovely little French girl voice albums. And it's sort of like the French girl version of Nick Drake in my head. Oh, the Texan character is so good. And the drunk waiter, right? The drunk waiter, every moment he walks through a scene, he just takes the scene with him. My favorite is the look he gives when the woman's, is it her hat or her hair that catches on fire? And he just, his whole body leans back and elastics back towards her, like, oh my God, okay, what am I going to do? You can just see all those processes working right on his face. If you haven't seen The Party and you're not overly sensitive, which I don't think anybody here is, yeah, it's fantastically funny. And the best part is he's the last person that should be at that party because of something that happens at the start of the film. And then he still goes to this party, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he's gone to this party. you know. All right. So, I don't know why I showed you that. Howdy, partner. That guy's like 6'3", 6'4". She goes to shake Peter Sellers' hand, almost takes his arm off. So there's, I find that there's a real hesitancy in the marks I put down with this hand. It's almost like I'm drawing at normal speed. Birdie Num Num's going to be stuck in my head all day long, Kat. Thank you for that. Kat, what was a page of yours that I just did? You had a suggestion I just did. Oh, the scientist. I posted the scientist page on that people rocks are interesting. I think that's the one I posted on Friday. All right, let's get into the rhythm here. If anybody has had an opportunity, Frankly Mapleton has schmutzed himself up a little bit there. He wiped out after coming home from visiting his kids, and he's pretty bumped up. So if anybody gets a chance to say, hey, Frankly Mapleton, Salazar Nation, if you get a chance to wish him well, that'd be great. I think I would make him feel better. Tell him to pour some maple on it. Don't do that. Don't do it because he might. Philip, you might put some maple on that. Tell him that's what we do in Canada, Philip. So I'm trying to make sure I get her do-rag or whatever you call this tied onto her. And so what I've got is this blue collar photo with this couple standing beside each other, but clearly, there's a lot of hesitancy between the two of them. See, now I can use it correctly. There's a lot of hesitancy between the two of them. And that is what we're going with here. Uh-oh. Paul Pate, ladies and gentlemen. Driving to the post office and watching. Just kidding. Only listening. All right. Well, in that case, let's resume to singing. We're so sorry, Mr. Paul Pate, but we haven't done a bloody thing all day. So now I'm trying to draw that pleating in the shoulder. And like I say, your brain tries to say, hey, go backwards the opposite way. Don't be doing that the right way. It's a fun challenge, though, to try to draw with your opposite hand. And it doesn't mean a hill of beans to other people. Like they're going to look at this and go, yeah, so what? Good deal. It's a shaky drawing. What's the matter? It's a tricky thing for me because somebody's going to look at this and go, Chris, were you not feeling good that day? Today's left-handed topic is two Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. Draw it left-handed. That's who's responsible for that. Okay, so all right. So yeah, so I have a natural tendency to go this way with this hand. Now, do I have to color this and everything else with the wrong hand, with the left hand too? Just how constrained am I? There's a guy named Karl Kopinski. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see how Karl Kopinski works, but Karl, being, still being ambidextrous, Karl draws with both hands at the same time. It's something to see. All right, here we go. Random question of the day, number 491. Does the sound of your own voice surprise you? Never. I mean, never. That's a good question. Everybody feel free to chime in on this question of the day. 491. Does the sound of your own voice surprise you? I think so. For me, I think so, because in my head, my voice sounds terrible. I don't know how much the gravel in my voice comes across to other people, but I know that in my head, it sounds like, so. Cat, all the voices in my head. Gonna have to give Cat a Polly for that one. In a minute. What day is it today? It's Tuesday, which means that tomorrow night is when Jim Luan's going to be doing his stream, where he talks about the process of animating an independent film. So if you're interested in finding out some of that stuff, be there or be spectacular, triangular, square. All the cool kids with tattoos will be there. Haga! Thank you, Jim. We got Linda's here. Hi, Linda. In my head, my voice is that of my younger self. When in reality, it comes out as my old lady voice. In your head, do you phrase it like young lady terms, or do you phrase it like, does it sound like back when I was in your age? Or does it, but meanwhile, you're saying it as, whatever your age is. Which It's like implying that Linda's voice when she was younger was all, "Hello, everyone. How are you?" That's my younger voice. That's the voice I had as a young man. "Hello, everyone. Welcome to the hot tub." And I'm not in it. I'm just standing beside a dry hot tub, just pointing at it. I don't know. I was a weird kid, man. My voice as a younger man, before when I was going through my 20s, my voice was, "Hey, man, like, geez, I don't know." I've spent a little too long sounding like Shaggy. Now, thank goodness it eventually ended, but it's a bad combination to be a space cadet looking guy with a voice that sounds like Shaggy, and because you're tall, you got this lanky walk. People ask questions. And it's kind of a combination. I'm 73. So, Linda, when you were young, is that what you sounded like? Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of drawing implements beside me because I wasn't sure what would work best. So I had this idea of trying different things in there. It's going to sound weird, but I'm celebrating that I just made parts of the body equal. That was tricky. I prefer my more mature age 29 voice. I have a hard time understanding what maturity is, Linda. It's always the ones that express the, "I don't understand maturity." We're pretty much usually the squarest ones. It's like protesting too much. So I'm going to try to come in and tighten this up a little bit with other mark making tools in a second. But clearly this takes me a while to draw anything this way. Thanks, Jim, for the suggestion. As much as I'm all silly about protesting it, I'm really not, actually. I think it's objectively a fun thing to put myself through. Now, the last time Jim suggested something to me, he said, the horse riding a bicycle playing guitar. And then I drew it. And he said, I was kind of kidding when I said that. Oh, no, you told me. So if that's the same case here again, well, I'm doing it. Anything is a learning experience. Anything is a way to grow creatively. If there's anything that you can do that sort of, any of those little challenges, if you pay attention to the things that you're getting out of them, those little challenges are going to give you some growth creatively. Of course, the challenge in and of that is to to let yourself fall into it, right? So what do we got for our questions today? When you hear your own voice, are you surprised? I think that's what Jim said. Does the sound of your own voice surprise you? Is today's question. You know what? I really hope that, I know that he puts numbers on these questions, but I really hope that Jim has a book where he's got all these written down, because that would be an outlandish book to see. It's drawn blind a lot too, because your hand is on the left side. Your hand tends to be in the way of what you're doing. I should have drawn across this way, and instead I'm bouncing around here. So I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Hi, Christopher. Hi, everyone. I'm about to go to class, and after that, to celebrate, we'll watch the replay. This is celebrate. We'll have a great celebration today and a great class, but have a great celebration today, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. Cat and Paste, what about your voice? Hey, everybody, say happy birthday to Chris. Happy birthday. If you go to Denny's, there's a robot that brings food to your table, and it sings happy birthday to you. I don't know if they have Denny's where you live, Chris, but if they do, and somebody says, where would you like to go? You say, where robots sing happy birthday to me. That's right, Denny's. Happy birthday, Chris. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Chris. Happy birthday to you. It's weird saying happy birthday in my own name. Jim says, the drawing is really nice. That was a left-handed compliment. No Denny's nearby. Come on up here. We got Denny's galore. There's two things you can look forward to. There's other people named Chris, and there's Denny's up here. I have to admit, that was my first time at Denny's. And then Jim gives me a left-handed compliment. Well, happy birthday, Chris. I hope you have a great one. Is there anything that you want drawn for your birthday? Health and wellness is my main wish all the time, says Chris. Oh, I still got that up. I'm so sorry. No Denny's nearby. Cat and Paste. Hey, hi. Health and wellness is my main wish all the time. Well, I hope you have a great one. Let me know if there's any birthday drawings I can do for you. You're welcome. My favorite mythical animals are dragons and unicorns. Oh, you got a coloring book with those today. That's cool. That is cool. So we're going to be seeing new dragon and unicorn images on your page soon. That'll be awesome. To do a drawing of a dragon or a unicorn for you, I think. I ain't gonna color it. You color it yourself. I don't know if you want to color it yourself. Okay, so if I've got there's the missus. All right, so there's the one Victorian person debating whether or not they should kiss. And now I'm going to draw their fella. Yeah, my hand gets actually a little more stable as I'm going, I'm finding. So that's a fun test that we used to do when I was in high school. Is you stand there in front of a large piece of paper and just try to make a straight line. My students here, have a great day. Okay, have a great day, Chris. Happy birthday. Those kids are all bringing her in cupcakes and apples. That's the perks of being a teacher, is that it's your birthday and all the kids bring in stuff. Maybe not, but yeah, I gotta hope one of them does. Bye. All right, so we got the buttons. Making sure they're equally spaced. Tricky, 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 tricky. My grandfather used to paint stripes freehand on city vehicles. He was drunk most of the time. I don't mean to laugh at your grandfather being drunk. It's just... I know a guy who does that. He does the freehand painting, and it's like you watch him do it, and you're like, oh my Lord. You got to have some serious skill to do that while drunk. Has anybody ever tried to draw with their other hand before? All right. We're getting complicated now. Putting a kid in. So the whole idea of this page, because that's what I'm talking about when you're drawing, the narrative should come through. At least this is how it works for me. I don't know. The narrative needs to come through in my head. Like I sort of write that story as I'm working. And in the larger context, it'll start with like the first panel. And a lot of the, oh, I'm going to do this and then this and this and this next. I think this is going to be another one of these drawings where it's just largely a single panel. Or maybe a secondary image underneath it, but this is going to be largely textual. And the idea here being, they're debating whether or not they should kiss. And I think the debate is, you've got one kid, that's one kiss, that's all you get. That's where my head's going for the story for this. So I just like the idea that they're debating it. It's funny how one word can completely change a direction of a piece, right? Wait, is that what my voice sounds like? There's this game that sometimes you play, some people play when you're young. Like if they were making a Hollywood movie about your own life, who would play you? And who do you think is like you in Hollywood? And then we'd say people for each other. And I always tried to be really, I didn't want to pick bad people for others. And I think that my friends played it the same way, but I would always get like Gary Busey. And so in my head, maybe I don't know, maybe I sound like Gary Busey. It sounds fine to me. I don't know. I want to sound like Macho Man, huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's how hip I am. The only wrestlers I can reference are from the 1980s. That okay, so Macho Man Randy Savage, they used to have this thing on the wrestling show where the contenders would come out and talk with this guy called Mean Gene Okerlund. And all right, here we go, Macho Man in the studio. And he's pacing back and forth. Oh, like this with his back to the camera. And you go, Macho Man, what do you think about this upcoming event? And he turns around and goes, listen up here, pal. And he says, I'm going to rise up. And his second hand comes up and he goes, I'm going to rise up to be the cream of the crop. And he's holding a creamer. And that's, that I could not, that baffled me for a few years until a friend of mine told me about the process of writing for these guys. He would never follow any scripts. He would always just improv something as he was coming out, which makes the creamer thing even funnier because that means that guy grabbed the creamer backstage and then walked onto the stage and tried to fit that into his little talkie bit. We'll rise up to the cream of the crop. Yeah. I think they should be saying to themselves, this is what people think. We just don't talk about it in public. Hi, Dee Dee. I have no idea what that's referring to at this point because my brain is monkey brain. Lots of highs. Hi, Riri. Today we're drawing backwards, which is fun because it sort of makes your brain have to think outside the box. Okay, for those that just joined, what did she say? Okay, I think that this is in reference about kissing in the Victorian era. I think they should be saying these things to themselves. People think, they just don't talk about it in public. Oh my God, that's even more brilliant. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Yeah, okay, so it'll be thought bubbles. Thank you, Dee Dee. That's a great suggestion. For those that just joined, random question of the day was, are you surprised by the sound of your own voice? That's what Jim Luan sounds like. That's my Jim Luan impression. Here, I'll let me try. Do we have any milk? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's my Jim Luan impression, everybody. The terrible part about that is you don't get to do a rebuttal because, you're not on the microphone. You want to hear my Gary Hodges impression? Here's my Gary Hodges impression. Oh, so that's how it's going to be? Is that how it's going to be? That's my impression. I know it doesn't sound much like him at all, but okay, I'm going to try something else. There's a big crayon. All right. Jim does great impressions. He's really good, isn't he? He's so impressed by my impressions. You should hear his David Hasselhoff impression. Hi, Barbara. I forgot to say hi. I'm so sorry. Do you have a Polly impression? Yeah, I do. Ready? Hey, I'm Polly. How you doing? You got to work on that one. You got to work on that. Pretty much all my impressions are going to be this today. There's certain silly impressions that people have done over the years that just sort of stick with you, and you can't hear the person that they're doing the impression of. You can't hear that person the same again because you tend to notice the heightened. The impressionists, they play off of, they overemphasize the certain characteristics of the people they do an impression of, right? And so because of that, I can't hear Paul McCartney talk without thinking of Dana Carvey going, I'm just going to have a little bit of a doobie, and so, whenever he talks about anything now, I'm like, it doesn't sound right anymore. Because I'm thinking of Dana Carvey. I'm not thinking of Paul McCartney anymore. Everyone needs to give Christopher a left-handed thumbs up. Oh, I know somewhere that David H. has this new gig selling train destination vacays. Probably in Germany. It's probably in Germany. There was a short on YT of a mama chimp that thought her baby had made it. The caregivers had rescued it, and the awe and love, she ran to her infant and just loved it. Oh, nice. That's nice. I like that. That's nice and uplifting, Riri. I like that. When with Dana Carvey, all I hear is church lady. Well, isn't that special? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I liked when the microphone changed. That's a fun effect when the microphone went, oh, who could it be? I don't know. Who gave you that idea, Barbara? Could it have been? And he goes, Satan! It echoes really, really badly. Oh, man. That is wonderful, Riri. I like that sort of stuff. And when you have especially when you're having a challenging day, if you can find some sort of little uplifting moment to celebrate, it can change the direction of your headspace entirely. I know that I post pictures of chimpanzees, and I often refer to chimpanzees as monkeys, but that's because I'm complicated, and can't help myself. Here, not here. Forgive me, we're still thawing out here in the tundra. Well, you're very welcome for coming. Thank you. All right, so I'm drawing the sun here as well. It's I find that I'm more hesitant putting my marks down because there's an expediency that allows you an impulsiveness and impetuousness about just flinging a line down and then moving on. Whereas when you're working slowly, you tend to overly focus on something and overly concentrate on it. There's a lot to be said for working expediently. No. Because he'd still be Christopher Walken. It'd still be Christopher Walken. Even if Christopher Walken's doing an impression of Paul McCartney, he's like, Paul, I'm smoking a doobie. Like, it'd still be the same thing. Look at me, Paul McCartney. I'm a Beatle. Like, it wouldn't be anything. It'd just be Christopher Walken still. My left hand refuses to write my name. Yeah, my left hand refuses to write my name. I ask it, I'm like, left hand? Doesn't even respond. It's rude. Whereas my right hand, I say, right hand, you know. How are you today? Yeah, come on. This is polite. This is rude. I don't speak whatever language my right hand's saying, but, you know, it tries. Riri says, Christopher, the deer hunter. It's the first thing I think of. The Christopher Walken line that always sticks in my head is from The Dead Zone. Because that was probably the first time I was really cognizantly aware of a level of dissatisfaction in a character, in a piece that was voiced so plainly, and it confronts the viewer on a number of levels, especially if, you know, you come like contextually, like here he is, he's a school teacher, churchgoer guy, and all this stuff, and then he gets into a car accident, and when somebody says, you know, one of his parents say, you know, you really got to be, you know, try to be positive here, John. You survived the accident, and then he outlines all the things that he's so grossly dissatisfied in. And the line of, you know, oh yeah, God's been a great sport to me. You know, that line is, for some reason, the Chris Walken line in my head. And then the second one has to do with the watch. But, you know, memory's a funny thing. Okay, so this is the part I was talking about. It's hard. You're trying to draw when your hand is in the way of what you're looking at, you know, because you're so used to it being the opposite way around. It's funny how we associate stuff with stuff. Stuff with stuff. It's true. Like there's certain film titles that stick in my head, and they're always really complicated ones. Like there's a great mafia movie. Chris Walken's in it, coincidentally. It's called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. I love this film. It's a great film, but everybody I've tried, you know, hey, have you seen Things to Do in Denver and You're Dead? And you're like, what? Meanwhile, it's got Chris Lloyd, Treat Williams, Andy Garcia, Christopher Walken. Who am I missing? Just this. It's Bill something or other. It's just William Forsythe. It's a great cast, and Steve Buscemi is an early appearance of Steve Buscemi in it too, and as a prominent character. So it's just a really, really wonderful film. But you know, I tell my friends about it, and they're like, "I've never heard of that." And it's a good film. And there's another film that I really enjoy called At Play in the Fields of the Lord, and because Tom Waits is an airplane pilot in, or a helicopter pilot in it. It's a funny thing, right? I never saw it, really. Have you seen it? I can't find my pencil sharpener, so I'm not holding any pencil, never mind which hand. I need to attach one of those washroom key paddles to my air supply so they don't go missing. Yes! It's a great idea. Like, there's a few things easier in this world than trying to draw with a pencil. You got this big piece of wood attached to it. I love it. Yeah, it's a great film. Things to do in Denver when you're dead. But this is what I'm talking about. I like these films. I seem to always remember these really long titles to things easier than I remember Sleuth. You know what I mean? Like, there's a book written by a book written by a guy here in Ontario called who goes under the name of Seth, and he did a comic book about, growing up, going record shopping at City Lights and visiting family in St. Thomas. And the book's called "It's a Good Life If You Don't Weaken." And then the Tragically Hip, which is a prominent Canadian band, they did a song referencing that song title. And I'm like, check it out. They got a set comic title in for one of their songs on this album. And my friend went, "What are you talking about, man?" I'm like, "This one." I'm like, "Who remembers that as a book?" So it's the weird ones. Cat and paste. You're going to get a Polly for that, Cat. This is a Polly line. I always write ransom notes with my non-dominant hand. It's harder for forensics to analyze. Here you go, Paul. I'm going to give her a Polly. If I can figure out how to make things work. Hey, that's a great sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Pate. I saw Things to Do in Denver so long ago I don't remember much about it. It's Christopher Walken's a quadriplegic. He's a quadriplegic mob boss, and he oh my gosh. Oh, there we go, Paul. Paulie. It's a good film, Paul. It's such a good film. That Andy Garcia is the main character. There's a malt shop with this gangster crew meets and has a malted together. And there's this guy in there who's basically narrating it to whoever he can talk to that's visiting the malt shop about how, these characters are they're the boys, they're the coolest boys in this town, and he's doing this entire description of their adventures. And meanwhile, the situation these guys are in sucks. Hey, Tori. Hi. It's just that tricky trying to do a directional line that you're so used to associating. You have this sort of gesticulation that you move your hand a certain way when you make these sweeping lines, and you've got your hand trained to do ellipses and things like that from your right side. You try to switch it to the left side, and your brain immediately just goes backwards. I might try a left-handed drawing Saturday morning. Yeah, do it. It's a lot of fun. It really changes your headspace. Like, it really changes how you're looking at the drawing you're doing. I mean, this is kind of rough, but it's it makes you your brain think in different ways. And coincidentally, we say these things about, it makes my brain think in different ways. It literally does. It makes the neurosynaptic firing in your brain. The signals are going in different patterns than they would normally do so. And that's pretty good. So, but Paul says, I'm also going to try to talk while I draw too. I can write with both hands, but then I'm cheating because you use two hands to write Braille. Oh, well, there you go. Definitely couldn't draw with the left. Oh, well, everything went to practice, right? Learning to read Braille is a really challenging thing for a lot of people. I did a workshop at a place here in London that services a lot of visual impaired people there in the city. And so we were doing a mural for this offices, and we were talking about storytelling. And so not everybody, this is a misnomer that most people think of blind, they think completely without vision, when we all know it's a larger body than that. My brother-in-law's deafblind, but I mean, he still can see. It's just very poorly. But anyways, when I was at doing this workshop with people talking about, storytelling and storytelling in general, not just through pictures, but they were having me do a storytelling workshop there. And so we also had this mural project going on the side. And if anybody wants to just, let's come and spread some paint around. Maybe painting isn't something you ever consider because, the stigma of, well, you can't see, what can you paint? And so part of this mural that we did, every place that the people in the workshop would paint on it, well, we incorporated that into the actual painting. Nothing was covered over. Oh, look, that part's terrible. We'll fix that up. Because I've seen people do that before in those murals, and it pisses me off. So the most part that I didn't expect, though, is that one of the people in my workshop, he had no eyes. And he'd lost his eyes. And so, and he'd lost them when he was a young boy. And, and this fellow was in his 40s. And so when he started painting, he was crying, and he was so happy because it never had come across that he could do that. And he loved it. And I said, are you comfortable with washing your hands after this? And he says, he said, yeah, of course. Yeah, I do that. And I said, then good. Stop using the brush. Get in there and use your fingers. And he had a ball. I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sorry. Riri, any relation to Dee Dee? I've been doing this thing whenever I meet somebody, and I ask them, hey, do you know so and so? And it's just a different person with the same first name. I got told to stop doing that. With the impression of a 2-year-old having a temper tantrum on paper. To draw with your left hand? Yes, right? It's, yeah, just give it a try. Is reading backwards like reading Hebrew? Maybe. I don't know. I've never read Hebrew. And Riri says, I wish, Paul. Teresa says, I'm legally blind, so I use a can and we'll be getting a guide dog soon. Mural sounds amazing. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun for me too. My brother-in-law is vision impaired. So, and he lives in Paris there at Sensity. And we play hockey all the time. And he's like the greatest goalie I've ever seen. He's actually a little bit annoying. He's so committed as a goalie. He just throws himself to the ground, and it's not like I'm slap shotting at him and blistering wrist shots at him, but he stops a lot of balls. We play with a large, really bright red ball, and it's a lot of fun. Reading Hebrew is reading from right to left, and from back to front. So this is the part that I'm talking about. Figuring out how to draw an ear this way is one thing, but then trying to figure out how do I draw the other ear on the other side of the head the same way. Yeesh. When I paint, I have a tactile graph under my paper. I can see colors, but no shapes. As long as it's right up to my face, though. Oh, wow. Well, that's awesome, Tori. That's awesome. When you say a tactile graph under my paper, are you talking about a graph pattern that has a raised surface to it? Because that's fantastic. I really like the paintings of Chuck Close. Chuck Close was in a pretty bad car accident, and he does these crazy portraits of people. And he paints, the entire piece is based on these little squares that have a line across the diagonal, okay? And then it has a circle in the center. And so he has done 8-foot by 8-foot paintings, and all it is combinations of different values in this area, like the 4 different areas of that square. And he'll do wonderful portraits, but his vision and his motor coordination were both greatly affected in that car accident. So for him, being this realistic portraitist, he still does these works like this, but he breaks it down into such an abstraction like that, that's how he goes about doing it. Barbara says, if you can't figure out how to do the other ear, Chris, just give the guy a hat. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, Tori, that you're that committed. I also have a paper that raises when you press on it, so I do outlines on it, then pop it under paper. Then the graph helps me find what goes on in the details and where to place it. That's awesome. That is truly awesome. I love that. Where do you pick up those supplies? Might be interesting to find out there. Like, is it something some of the raised surface paper? Is it a specific kind of paper, or is it? And I love that you're thinking outside of, the box. And some people would just say, forget it, I can't do a thing, when they're confronted with some, resistance, right? So I'm really, really happy to hear, Tori, that you're doing that. Where are we at? 123. Oh, I'm missing stuff. I'm so sorry. Amazing, Tori. You're a very talented artist. Blessed guys. Really wish I was, but it does bring me lots of joy. Learn so much from you all. I don't know what you're learning from me. It's probably bad habits. Yeah. Wow, Tori. I get it from the RNIB, Institute for the Blind Shop. Then I just worked out what I needed and found a way around stuff. My brother-in-law, his roommate, Yemen, they've been living together for 24 years. Yemen, I bought him art supplies for Christmas because he really wants to paint and draw with me. And so Yemen and John are going to be on a stream soon where we're going to do I'm going to draw here, and they're going to draw there in Paris, and we're going to do a stream here and everybody can take part and have fun. But that might be something that might help out Yemen. So I'm definitely going to look into that. Thank you for letting everybody know that, Tori. That's so fantastic. John doesn't really care about drawing. John, just draw me a hockey player, he says to me, and I got to draw a hockey player. But Yemen likes to make art. Joy's hard to come by. Blessed with joy in spite of it all. Bravo. See, there you go, Tori. Yeah, so that'll be a fun stream. Is having these two. John has been on my stream before. Those of you that might remember, we each time that John comes on, last time I drew a Philadelphia player for Yemen, and the time before that I drew the goalie for Toronto. They like hockey a lot. I'm really lucky. I got a cool brother-in-law. Although it has been said that when he and I walk together, it kind of looks like the giant A&W bear and the kid because of the size difference. But, you know. Oh, cool. All right, giving him a hat. Well, I was going to give him a hat anyways, but. I just listened to that. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. That's another Dana Carvey thing. He did a Paul McCartney impression. Oh, we talked about that before. But when he'd do the little Paul McCartney video, and he'd do the writing process for Paul McCartney writing songs, that's the one that he did. Someone's knocking at the door. Someone's ringing the bell. Just literally what's happening is what he's writing. Need to close up for shop for now. Thanks, Chris. Take care. All. Hey, thanks, Barb. Thanks, Barbara. Everybody's saying bye, Barb. Van Gogh managed with one ear. Well, yeah. He managed with a lot more than that. There's a lot more of an effect in poor Van Gogh than just an ear. Everybody talks about Vincent, and as wonderful a painter as Vincent was, I'm always more impressed with Teo's wife, because those guys wouldn't be remembered at all if it wasn't for I think Irene. I can't remember what her name is. I had it written down. I forget names. It might be Teddy, Van Gogh's wife, Van Gogh's brother, for all I remember. But so now I've got their son involved in the mix. So I definitely can't let these two characters get away with being overly smoochy now. So the suggestion for this page is two Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. And then Jim said, draw left-handed. Jim. So we are. It's so much faster if I could use my other hand. Try this though, gang. This is a lot of fun. It's a little frustrating on some levels because you're like, but at the same time, it makes, like I said, it makes your neurosynaptic connections in your brain work in a different way. So, are there two men and one woman in this Victorian kiss drawing? One of them's a child cat. Makes it sound worse. Riri says it was Van Gogh's sister that made his work priceless. That's true. It really is. She had to pay the bills. They were both dead, and she has a whole lot of paintings and a whole lot of debt. So she made the most out of what she could. So she would carry the baby, like she would take the child around to these meetings that she would have with collectors. She would be child in tow. Kat says, oh yeah, that's better. Well, Dee Dee has a really fun suggestion, and that is two Victorian people debating whether or not they should kiss. It's going to be entirely internal monologues. Like she's thinking, like the big old thought bubbles, right? She's thinking from her perspective. He's thinking from his perspective. And then, of course, the punchline would come from the kid's thoughts, right? That's the thing about story, and that's the thing about comics, is that everybody thinks comics has to be this whole involved 50-panel thing, X amount of panels to tell the story. Story can be told a single image. We all know this, but even in comic books, there's a lot to be said for the carrying of narration across a page. with the dialogue in and of itself. It's just a static image, right? Tori says, I just tried holding a pencil with my left. It twisted and hit the cat. You never said it needed protective wear. Oh, look at this. Look what's happening. That's a great sentence. You got it, Polly. He's behaving themselves today. Not just drawn backwards. Everybody's behaving. Yeah, I honestly have a vice grip on this pencil. My hand is going to be so sore afterwards because I just, because I did that too. I put the bang and it go flying. So I've got like a vice grip on it, and then my pressure on the surface of the paper is so light because, again, I'm afraid of flicking it off into the wild blue yonder. Corbin, he's not even in the room. He knows better than to be in here today. No, he's drawing with the wrong hand. I got to get out of here before I get a pencil in the old eyeball. So for anybody that joined late, Jim had a fun question earlier, and that is anybody, I'm going to paraphrase it if I get it right. If I get it wrong, please let me know. Is anybody stranged out by the sound of their own voice? Dee Dee said earlier, and I forgot to pop it up. Dee Dee had said that she's not after 14 years of streaming. I still find myself sounding a little bit odd, but oh, there we go. Tori says, hey, I made it to the Wingnut book, and now Polly, my life is complete. Okay. It sounds like self-validation to say that, hey, you can do all the narrative around one single element of one single art element or one single drawing. It's almost like an excuse for not drawing panel after panel with my left hand. It is. Riri says it. It is. Your life's complete now, Tori. It's natural not to like your own voice. It doesn't sound the same as you hear it. Hey, hi, Malcolm. Hi, Chex Mix. I hate hearing my voice. I cringe when I edit my vids. Is that right? Yeah, I don't edit my vids. Honestly, I don't know if I watch my vids. I can't think of when I actually look, except for when John was on, because it made me smile so much hanging out with John. But and I watched when Gary was on, and when all my guests have been on, when he's on, when Jim's on, when I've watched those, but I tend not to watch just this old mug because this is bad enough when I got to look in the mirror to shave, which I don't do enough. Okay, so I've set myself a task here. I have picked a stupid hat to draw. I don't do vids, and I cringe just leaving a voicemail. I make up voices when I do voicemail. It's the only way to do it. Yeah, this call is for Christopher Runsman to order drugs. Yeah. A pharmacist is just, what in the world? See what I mean? Ugh. Left this silly little rim on his hat. Ugh. When I started, I used to rewatch all my videos obsessively, picking myself apart. Why did I say it that way? What is that face I'm making? Stop saying like, now I refuse to watch. Oh, Gary. I think Gary's videos are really natural. And it's funny to hear that you say you used to pick it apart like that, and they come off as really natural. Maybe that's from practice of ripping them apart. I don't know. But I scrub back through my vids on mute to read the chat that I missed. Oh, that's cool. Good for you, Gary. Food for that. Nice. Nightmare. Nightmare fuel right here. Kat says, I used to get paid to record voicemail messages for businesses. I give good messages. I give good telephone. I give red emergency phone. What is that? What is that? It's one of those. Well, Jim has asked me to do some voices for his new film, The Full Fungus. And I really appreciate that. I think it was really nice to get that opportunity to do that. And he's okay with what I'm sending him, which is even better. Everything I send him is like this. Okay, all right, so then the one guy says this, and then the other guy says, oh, you did. Is that okay? That's what I send him. Didi says, later, guys. See you later, Didi. Where are we at? 139. I'm going to wrap up in a couple of seconds. Just going to finish this guy's head. Because I got to go and get dinner on because my son Sean is coming over for dinner and we're going to take him shopping. Sean's my 27-year-old. I like that guy. He's cool. I gaze upon my own image with admiration and dance to the music that is my own voice. That's a great sentence. That's a great sentence, Polly. We're going to leave that up there for a while, Paul, for everybody to take in. So we're almost done our little Victorian couple. See, I almost lost my pencil. Almost done this. Oof. Mm-hmm. He's a rough-looking customer, that one. That really deserves a Polly. I almost lost my D. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, we're just about done the main part of it, and I'll have to finish in the rest of it after, I think. But okay, they look like people. Dirty jokes. Oh my God, Paul, you can't earn your own Polly. Yes, you can. You already did. That's fantastic. Dirty jokes instead of the, yeah. I think at Riri, Paul lost his D as well. It's D loss, aren't. You guys are awesome. All right, I think I'll finish this a little bit up in a few moments. I just gotta go and get some stuff started because my one son's coming for dinner. My plan is to use this Prismacolor to put in some gray tones, and I already used this crayon a little bit. I think I might put some more of that crayon action going on in behind these cats. Well, look at that. That was a fun shape. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of black and white Posca and get this image rounded out. Birdie num num. And, you know, okay, we got it. We know what you meant, Riri. It's a lost star. Oh my God, it's too good. Birdie num num. All right, I think I'll be having the salad, please. Yeah. We're talking about Peter Sellers, The Party. But thanks very much, everybody, for coming and hanging out. Hey, well, thanks, Linda. What do you think of the drawing? Oh, my Lord. Yeah, I think I'm going to sign out for today. Try this out. I don't know if whatever your predominant hand is, use the other one. See what how that challenges you. You're going to find out different ways to make the marks. My suggestion is hold your pencil deliberately, right? Guide yourself closer to the surface than you might normally hold your drawing pencil. And use these two fingers as a stabilizer for yourself, because I think that's what's really helped me out. But have fun. Just give it a go. Look at an image and go for it, and see what that gives you. And it's a challenge. It's a fun challenge. It really is. And like I said earlier, it's going to make your brain do different things, so that probably the next time we start drawing with the other hand, who knows what it's going to open up on a weird subconscious level. But this page is this image has been fun to do, and I'm looking forward to scanning it and putting it in the old robot and seeing what comes of it. But in the meantime, I'm going to sign out for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. Thank you, everybody, for your insights. If you got a one-page comic suggestion, feel free to drop it in the comments for this video or any of the social media stuff. By all means, any old time you want to tell me, let me know. I'm interested in what other people are doing, so if you got stuff you want to share, let me know. I'd love to see it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thanks, Tori. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Dee Dee. Thanks, Riri. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Paul. Thanks. We came up with a new name for Philip. What was it? Oh, Flurker. Flurker. Philip was lurking earlier, so if you weren't here, Jim told him you're not just a lurker, Philip. You're a flurker. So, yeah, thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Anybody I missed? Malcolm, thank you. Anybody I missed, I'm so sorry. But thank you for Barbara. See, I'm going to think of all the names after the fact, right? Yeah, but have a great day, everybody, and have a better than average. Hey, it's Riri's lost her D, everybody. And on that note, we'll leave it there. I'll be back at 2 o'clock tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night. Bye for now.